Neji.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
What about?
remember. Okay. So narrative stuff, because I had more narrative things to say. Because we were talking about like rewriting Neji, how we would go about including more scenes or whatever. I forget exactly where I left off, but if we were doing like the rematch and just Sasuke versus Neji in the Chunin exams, that's important going forwards. Because first of all, if Sasuke loses, it gives him more reason to be frustrated at Naruto. I'm again forgetting the word inferior to Naruto. I think that's the word.
Yeah, yes, inferior. Yeah. That's the word.
But specifically, this would work so well for when Neji in the Sasuke retrieval arc tells Naruto that only you can save him because I've seen his eyes and it's filled with darkness. Same with Gaara. Gaara had to look directly at Sasuke's Avenger eyes, like, you have the same eyes as me. Neji, in this case, never actually did that with Sasuke. So him fighting Sasuke when he's in his Avenger state? Perfect. So I think that works especially well after he gets the curse mark. He's using the curse mark power against Neji.
I like that idea. The Forest of Death Sasuke versus Neji fight idea where Neji is either straight up wins or winning and then Sakura stops him. I don't think we need to remove the Sakura moment. We can just let Sakura end the fight, but Neji was winning or something. Because Neji's not going for the kill anyway. So I think I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about this.
Oh my god. Okay. Back to Neji. So if I were to narratively include him in Naruto, so not just the OG part, because I talked about that. There's probably somewhere else I want to include him in the OG part, but whatever. In part 2, because like we were talking about how like, oh, okay, to build up his death, yeah, they did everything they needed in part 1, and then he was just there in part 2, but why include him at all if you're not going to add on to a story? Because the story was complete, but the problem is they just didn't complete it more. They just didn't give him more story after they completed the story when they should have and could have. So could have and should have, but you know. So okay, in the Kazekage rescue arc, because he's here, I think what they could have done is just add conflict here with Naruto, because Neji is already a stepping stone to Sasuke as the end goal, same as Gaara. And so who perfect to get in the way of this than Neji himself, getting to Gaara, who then in the next arc gets to Sasuke. So I don't know exactly what the conflict would be or how they would go about it, but in some ways you could have Neji go back to his old ways, or even call Naruto out on his nonsense with him trying to rush into battle with the Nine Tails or whatever. Like, no, Naruto, you taught me destiny and you're being dumb, not the genius that you proved to that you are. I don't know. Just go back to Neji being, in some regards, not an antagonist, but providing that conflict or struggle for Naruto in this way in the Kazekage rescue arc. Thoughts?
Well, that's definitely one approach you can take. I don't think it's necessarily the only one you have to do.
It wasn't gonna be the only one. I include multiple, but I'll include just one more.
Yeah. So going with the hypothetical though,
because this works because again,
what would be the best
this is the. It's
thing.
not just the fact that he's here. What did they narratively do with Neji in this arc? Because they did do something with him, not in terms of like his character, in terms of like the story. Naruto comes back. He's still a Genin. Everyone else is a Chunin. Neji's a Jonin. Gaara is Kazekage. That's big. The fact that they're doing that. So lean in on that. Have Neji be the Jonin leader along with Kakashi.
You know what? I like that idea because with Gaara, they showed like why Gaara is Kazekage. Like they really like showed Gaara living up to his role, I would say. Like, yes, he lost to Deidara, but not because he wasn't being a good Kage, but because Deidara was just fucking that dude. But so in this case, I won't say that they didn't show Neji being the Jonin, but like show him being more of a Jonin.
At this point,
something I was wondering about, you might like this Oodie in particular. Mello, you might like it too, but in the Boruto movie, Naruto and Sasuke have like this bet type of thing going on. That's essentially their rivalry in this movie, but it's like the It's one of the ideological clashes of the movie, though. It is the bet of Naruto and Sasuke. You could do a similar angle to where they have a disagreement and they don't have to literally do the friendly rival bet, but like to some extent it's like a bet on like what the right way is in some regard. I don't know what specifically, but you could go with that angle too. Feels less antagonistic though in that case.
So this is a little bit of a rewrite, I'll admit, but I think this works perfectly. So in OG Naruto, instead of Shikamaru being promoted to Chunin, you have you have Neji be the one to be promoted to Chunin. I think this works as well, considering Neji's the one to be promoted to Jonin coming into the time skip, so he was always one step ahead, which again goes back to like Neji's ahead of his time or whatever, that wise beyond his years. So if instead of Shikamaru, if Neji just is the Chunin leader guiding the Sasuke retrieval mission, then you give Shikamaru's story from this arc to Neji, have Neji be the one that failed his team, and then going into the Kazekage rescue when he's Jonin, he's extremely strict coming from that previous arc. And so he's trying to revert from his mistake, but he's going too far and almost playing it too safe to where he refuses to let anyone die, and to an extent that almost fails the mission because of that.
Okay, so I love the retrieval arc to Kazekage rescue arc transition that you just went with.
Yeah.
I do, however, see two major problems.
I already know.
One,
yeah, I agree.
Why are they promoting Neji to Chunin?
Yeah. I know.
After he loses for his arrogance. And two, this might not be the one you thought of, but Choji's arc, I feel like, is a lot less impactful because Jirobo is dogging on the leader who was Shikamaru, and that's why Choji is so frustrated. Jirobo's, I mean, I guess he can just like shit on Shikamaru, who's just a member of the team and not the leader.
This is why I say it's a little bit of a rewrite. Because, okay, in that scene, he's not, he just wouldn't be caring about the leader. He would be caring about the vulnerabilities of Choji. Choji cares when people call him fat. That's why Jirobo's rubbing it in. Choji cares about his friends. His best friend is Shikamaru. Of course Jirobo's gonna attack him where it hurts. Let's keep it on that angle.
Yeah, we don't have to rewrite how and why Jirobo says what he says, though.
The other major elephant in the room would be the fact that you're taking this away from Shikamaru's character. Which,
yeah, so what will his arc be in the retrieval arc?
So I feel like you could just write it in some other way, or you can give him anything. But I feel like in terms of the retrieval arc, it's important for Shikamaru's character, but I feel like it never directly leads into something else with Shikamaru's character. Do you agree with me on that? Like, it's passively always there. Like, he's planning out the Hidan Kakuzu thing as a result of this, but it's never like, he never like calls back to it or anything. Like, it's important for his character, but I feel like it's not essential for where his character ends up or anything like that.
Yeah, I kind of agree and disagree because it is, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, they never call back to it, at least in the really, like, they do, but not in that regard, as the, like, oh, you know, that I've learned from my mistake. You could argue, like, it feels like he does because his approach with Asuma, it's like, yo, I'm not letting you just do this and that. Like, you're not going to be the sacrifice, which he kind of let people do in the retrieval arc. So you can argue that, like, it is underlyingly affecting how he's approaching this, but he doesn't directly say, you know, like, oh, I learned my lesson, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, plus, I guess especially with Neji coming off of what he just learned from the Chunin exams, and it's just more in his character anyways, I think it makes more sense for Neji to have this flaw, being the Chunin leader, making these decisions in the Sasuke retrieval mission more than Shikamaru, who not only do we not know as well, but his character I feel like doesn't fit in line outside of like the strategic element of it. I feel like Neji, because I don't think it's like an intelligence thing to make the decision to sacrifice your people and go on. I think that's more of a character decision. Yeah, exactly. So I think especially with Neji being like, forge your own destiny and defy destiny by defeating these opponents. and then catch up to us. I feel like that's something Neji would come to the conclusion of after the Sasuke retrieval mission, or sorry, after the tuning exams. I feel like it leads in perfect.
Like I said, there are elements of this I do think that work, but I do see like first of all, we really do need to address why did they promote Neji to tuning? Like
Listen,
because
I'm
even though
ignoring
Neji
that.
clearly has the combatant strength to be beyond tuning, realistically, it's just like bro's mindset was not in the right space. So while yes, he seems like, oh, he probably learned a lesson from Naruto, but it's like Neji needs to show what he's learned. He can't just like us just because he failed the test and like, oh, I learned my mistake. Well, now you got to show us what you learned in the next test.
Do you think if he never learned like lessons from Naruto, would he ever have become a Chunin?
I think honestly, if he just didn't fight Naruto and he just fought someone else and just like was normal, I think he would have been promoted. Like if you just fight Shino and it's just a normal fight, he's not dissing him, he's just fighting and beating him. Like I don't know if they're gonna not promote him.
I think that video game cutscene we saw earlier that makes more sense. He should have been promoted. He beat Naruto until the referee allowed Naruto to continue fighting after he should have been defeated. He won the fight. He did.
I don't know if he has like the I don't know if he's like strategic enough to be like a leader.
I think Neji is. I think Neji's problem though is he would look down on weak people and just be like dicks to them. Like just be like I don't know what he would do. Like you see it, granted, he learns things from Naruto, but like I know it's Naruto filler, but like in the Naruto filler at the end of part 1, Neji like leads plenty of missions, and you can just see like he straight up is smart. Or in the tuning exams in the Sand Village arc, Neji is the one who saves Gaara. Like it's all Neji. Neji's the one who figures out Shikamaru's exam and all this shit. Like Neji clearly was smart enough.
I feel like there's other aspects to look at this too. With Neji being the first like obstacle Naruto truly had to overcome on his own, for Neji to then step up and to defend Naruto and to go to save Sasuke for Naruto's sake, essentially. At the end of part 1, he's stepping up into that role because of Naruto saving him, in a sense. That works better than Shikamaru, who hasn't really done anything in terms of Naruto. Well, in this case, it's Neji leading the team, and just like Mello was saying, I don't know if Neji's naturally fit, that's not the point, because they weren't like looking to Shikamaru to lead the team. He was the only one who could do it. All the other Jonin weren't able to because they had to constantly be on missions to look as if Konoha is like strong after the Konoha crush. So, in this case, it's Neji being forced in this same scenario. Because it's not like they wanted Shikamaru, they just had to have Shikamaru. So, in this case, it's Shikamaru stepping up. But I feel like, again, with Shikamaru's character arc, it almost works better if he doesn't step up here, so he can step up for the first time against Hidan and Kakuzu. And that can, again, lead into why Asuma died, because at that point, he is still on his whole cloud, lazy character arc part, and this could be what shifts him into a high gear. Just makes it even more impactful.
The problem is, I don't think he was in the lazy cloud part anyway. Even by the retrieval arc, he already got over that pretty much by the tuning exams, end of Konoha Crush, I should say. But it also, I can't really. Shikamaru's not the leader of that squad, even as it is. So he wouldn't be the leader in either case. So he needs a. I mean, the problem is, like you said, does it really go anywhere? Yes and no, but he would he would need to have like a leadership role in an arc. And the only time that ever actually happens is the Sasuke arc. So I think we just have to remove it at that point. Like Shikamaru's just not getting it, and that's that. And we're just going to give it to Neji. I mean, honestly, at that point, it's almost just like Neji just is going to be the more important character instead of Shikamaru. We're just going to swap who becomes the more important character.
I mean, Neji's
like,
the
Shikamaru can have his
genius
arc and the Hidan and Kakuzu arc, but
yeah, like Neji's the genius. He's one of the only actual final exam things that we see. It makes sense to promote him based on that, because again, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It depends on what you show off. Neji did show off his geniusness. So it does make sense for him to be promoted in that regard.
He's just a good fighter. Like,
exactly, yeah.
Like with his contempt for certain types of people. I think he might have, like, if he was leading a squad, I don't know. I feel like he would like get people killed.
But in a way, that's
like
kind of what the villagers are looking for. The villagers are corrupt. They don't like, look at Sakamo. Freaking he Sakamo'd himself for this exact reason. Like, they want Neji's.
Sakamo'd him. Is that a thing? That's wild.
I mean, it's really tricky because as a leader, I don't know, like, how. Well, Neji can be a dick. Part of that was only when his buttons were pushed. Because you look in the Forest of Death, Neji isn't being a dick to Lee. Like, he is being a caring, fine leader and stuff. Like, he's not being like that. It's more when you start to push his buttons. That's not to say nobody could ever push his buttons, but fighting Hinata and Naruto, Neji's buttons are being pushed. And so he is being the whole destiny dick. But he's not necessarily doing that all the times. But from the perspective of the audience, that just is Neji. But I don't know what that would translate to in terms of his leadership. Like, I don't really know. It's tough to say because I feel like it makes him look like a bad leader. But at the same time, I don't know what bad things he would do as a result of his mindset anyway. I feel like it shouldn't affect how he leads the team. It just affects how he engages with his team, I guess.
Well, but then we even get to, like, the speech that Shikamaru gives right before leaving Konoha on the Sasuke retrieval mission. He's like, I don't even like the guy, but, like, I'm your team leader, so I'll lead you well. In this case, considering the previous rewrite of, well, Neji is fighting Sasuke, he's not going to be, oh, I don't like the guy, I don't even know him, but, like, I'll lead you. No, he's going to be mentioning that. I think that could be very impactful.
It would be like, you know, like,
well.
I've seen firsthand the darkness in his eyes. Like,
exactly,
as like a comrade of the Leaf, like, having been there myself, I will not stand to let him fall to that same darkness.
The same darkness that I was in. Like yes, bro, that hits so much harder than I don't like Sasuke. Exactly. Works perfect.
But like I said, I definitely think it works from Neji's perspective. I just think, I think it really what it boils down to is the trade-off of Neji and Shikamaru here in terms of like overall importance. We're just gonna take away a little Shikamaru and give it to Neji, basically.
Yeah. And again, I feel like it's not taking away from Shikamaru because you just give it to him later.
Because obviously that's gonna bring up. Will that bring? Obviously, that's going to bring up like the value of Neji's death more. Of course, it will. But will it decrease the value of Shikamaru as advisor too much? Is the question I would have.
I don't think so because it's not taking away anything from Shikamaru. It's delaying it. You're still giving him the same thing. You're just doing it later. And I think it still works for Shikamaru's character. It's not like it takes away from the moment or it doesn't make sense or anything. Because Shikamaru, if he, like, it doesn't, okay, if Shikamaru's not Chunin, it, first of all, in the plot, just wouldn't make sense to make him the leader of the team outside of, like, the intelligence thing, but, like, Neji's the Chunin, and, like, you're the Genin, like, Neji, okay, if Neji's stepping up willingly, Shikamaru wouldn't want to step up. He wouldn't throw himself out there, be like, oh, actually, I don't care if Neji says he wants to be the leader. I'm gonna be the leader. I'll take on this responsibility, this burden. I feel like it's way more impactful if the first time he does this, he has to go out of his way to do this. He's doing this after Asuma's death. This goes along with, like, his speech to his father. This is the first time where he is having to go out of his way to step up as a man and, like, actually take on that responsibility to lead his team in all of this. I think it just works perfect.
So when I said, like, taking away from Shikamaru, the particular scene I'm thinking of is it's when Tsunade comes out of, like, the hospital room. Like, there's Tamari, Shikaku, and Shikamaru, and, like, Shikamaru's all down, and she's like, oh, Choji's healed, and you have this scene of Shikaku says whatever wise words he said, and then Shikamaru is like crying, and he's like, next time the mission will go perfectly. I'm referring to like moments like that.
Yeah,
those are just taken away.
But you can still give that to him after Asuma.
Now, I don't feel like it's the same, but what I was gonna propose is, what if instead of just having one tuning, what if they just promoted both and they were basically co-leaders, and Neji is the quote-unquote leader, but Shikamaru is the one who makes the strategies. The sacrificing thing is just Shikamaru's idea, and so that's why Shikamaru is taking on that burden. But like Neji has his other leadership roles. Like, what if you just make them both the? Because in a sense, they kind of were. Like, Neji really was like the second leader of the group, and he was also the other guy figuring out Jirobo's Earth Dome prison. So you could just have them both be the leader.
In this, no, I think that actually can work better. But like, we could incorporate the ideas, our ideas. So in this case, Neji is still the one coming up with the sacrifice idea, and Shikamaru, not wanting to step up as leader, despite literally being one of the leaders, goes along with Neji's idea because he's the one stepping up as leader. So Shikamaru doesn't have to fill that position, even if he himself is leader. And at the end of the arc, I feel like that makes the fact that he is leader even more impactful, because he is taking on that responsibility even more so, because he could have turned down Neji, but he didn't. So you still give him that same thing.
That could also work.
Yeah. Because again, I still feel like Neji would come up with that idea rather than Shikamaru, and that just makes more sense and feels more.
I think regardless, well, Neji does say the whole like Sasuke's in the darkness, only you can save him Naruto line. I think we could just have the whole Neji like, Sasuke's in the same darkness I was in line. Whatever I said earlier, that was cool. Mm-hmm. Have him just say that before Neji makes his own sacrifice or something. Like, or before Choji sacrifices, like Neji just says something, I don't know. You can just have him say that in that case, instead of at the beginning of the mission.
And going back to the Kazekage rescue, before moving on to the next part, which I think you're going to really love, just like elaborating on what Neji's role here is, he's basically playing the role of the realist, looking at it from the mission perspective. So like Naruto, he's very emotional, trying to rush in, risking the rest of the team's safety, which is, again, what Neji would learn from the Sasuke retrieval mission, because he doesn't want his team to get hurt. So Naruto's being that liability, he's having to tell Naruto, convince Naruto, no, we're not doing it. Like, I think, wasn't it Temari or Kakashi who's telling Naruto not to go as quick as he can to conserve stamina, and that they're gonna sleep rather than, like, rush in the middle of the night when they're tired? Someone had to convince Naruto.
No, it was Temari. Naruto threw a fit. And then, like, Kakashi was like, Kakashi or Sakura are like, Naruto, think about how Temari feels. This is her brother.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, just give that to Neji. Neji's the realist. Again, that's like wise beyond his years. He's the one considering Temari's feelings here. That's genius. It's perfect for Neji. And he's already literally there.
Go with him in this case. Yeah, like, they're just traveling together instead of later.
Exactly. Yeah, and like, I don't know about this, but you could maybe go as far as to have Neji consider the likely possibility that Gaara is dead and that they can't save him before they even get there. And Naruto hates that idea, so that's how they're like conflicting against one another. It's not that Gaara saying that it's not that Neji saying that he is dead. Just give it up, Naruto. Give up on your dream. It's Naruto's being the naive optimist and Neji's being the realist.
And Neji being like, Naruto, like, I understand how you feel, and I hope this isn't true, but you do need to consider the possibility that he is already dead. Like, you need to plan accordingly or something like that.
Exactly. I think it works perfect.
Now, with this all in mind, I wonder, I'm not sure what you'll say, because obviously the rest of Team Guy is a factor, but I feel like Neji should be part of one of the two final battles, so that's either Deidara or Sasori in this case. Like, he needs to be more involved in the end, I feel like. But then that removes the whole clone versus clone thing, and if you're gonna remove that, then I feel like we're just incorporating all of Team Guy. So unless Neji's just the only one who doesn't have that, like, clone of him or something.
Yeah, I think what they could do. I don't ignore power scaling for a second. Instead of the clone thing, scrap that entirely. You do the 30% Kisame clone instead. And this is like the rematch, but this time you exclude Guy. Guy is still tired from his Hiradora, so he's like out of transmission. So now Neji has to step up and fill Guy's shoes as Jonin leader.
As goofy as it sounds, that definitely could work. Or maybe instead of Kisame, they just have a different Akatsuki member, but they might be introducing too many too soon. But like hypothetically, they just have. In that case, who would we have it be?
I think
would
the
it be
Kisame one works.
Would it be Hidan, Kakuzu?
I think Kisame works.
Neji got captured by the water prison jutsu by 30%.
Well, he was the one who broke out of it.
Yeah.
Why take him so long?
It's heavy.
Bro, they were just watching Guy, bro. They were watching him like they were watching the NBA finals. Like,
you can't be relying on
just
Guy.
like, wow, go Guy. And then when Tenten started to lose her breath, and then Nechi's like, all right, shit, we gotta break out.
It was like he was waiting for like the music cue to like flare up, and so he can like do some cool shit. It's like he could have literally just done, like, he can emit chakra from every point in his body. Like, I don't understand. Like, what happened, bro? I don't know. I feel like Neji, bro. Oh god. Like, I feel like Neji should have been boxing with Heavy Sasuke or some shit, bro.
Who would be the coolest Akatsuki member for Neji to fight?
Kisame! Why are you so against it?
Sasuke.
I'm not. I'm just asking.
Okay,
like,
it's Kisame. That's my answer.
The coolest person for him to fight?
Kisame. That's the answer.
Well, I do think Sasuke is, but like,
Sasuke's
I'm not
Akatsuki.
gonna count Sasuke. I'm thinking beginning of Shippuden Akatsuki members. So Sasuke's not a member yet.
I guess maybe Deidara.
Bro said yes,
like
as if Sasuke was ever a part of the Akatsuki outside of wearing the robe.
No, he joined the Akatsuki, bro.
He was not part of the Akatsuki.
Akatsuki Sasuke was the best Sasuke in the storm. I remember that. What the fuck? Damn, how you do that? But yeah, no. I guess maybe Kakuzu. That'd be a good fight.
Kakuzu might. I'm trying to decide. I don't know. It's tough. Like, who would be the coolest?
I just feel like maybe, I don't know, like, why didn't he incorporate actual like ninjutsu? Like, why was he only just focusing on like his taijutsu?
I don't know, like, he shat on Lee for not being able to use ninjutsu or genjutsu. It's like, bro, you don't even use it intentionally. Like, why is this even a nerf to you? Like, you're not using it even though you have it.
I got one for you. This could be because Toby isn't a part of the Akatsuki yet. What if this is like Toby's orientation or something? He's like, yes. I'll prove my worth to the Akatsuki, like, Neji, and they'll definitely let me in.
Yes, like, and then like, so like, yeah, this is actually, instead of like his debut just being when he's going after Sasori's ring, like, yes. Toby's like there, and then Zetsu's just watching from the shadows, like, oh boy, here we go. And then Nechi's like, what is wrong with this dude? And they have to fight Toby.
I love it, bro. Bro, that could be funny too. You get honestly, the seriousness of Neji.
Not the greatest like character-driven thing, but I love that too much to pass up the opportunity.
Okay, perfect. We're doing that then.
Especially because Neji's not there for the second Toby fight, so this gives Neji a chance. And actually, none of the team is Lee there. I don't think Lee's there either. So this might be like their only chance to actually interact with Toby.
And Obito literally just is there, so why wouldn't Obito be stepping in regardless?
Exactly. So this could just be like the delay. Instead of the clone delay, just have Obito do it, because Obito knows, like, hey, like, I do need to get in the way here, and he's gonna do it in his Toby way. Yes. Like, that's perfect. I love that. That is worth changing, because let's be honest, I bet you people would have preferred Team Guy versus this wacky goofball doing, whack-a-mole jutsu over Team Guy versus Team Guy. I bet you they would have liked it, because at least it's funny.
You don't even need it to be a fight. Just have Toby get in the way, being Toby, and it's still a better fight than the clone fight.
Yeah, like, just have him like be like asking these stupid questions, like he's just talking and they're like, what is wrong? They start trying to fight him, and then Toby's just like dodging and being wacky. And they're like, what the hell is going on?
Ask me to remember what you said. That's crazy. So I suppose I don't. I'll take you out with you.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
So I was curious about your other ideas. You made it seem like you had more than one.
Yeah, so this goes in tandem with it. This is really the other part of it. So it's like the main other idea. There's like these two ideas. So if the first one is the Kazekage rescue, the reasoning behind it leads exactly into this. 5 Kage Summit before Naruto's hyperventilating, you have Neji the realist talking about Sasuke right before Gaara does. And again, this goes on the stepstone idea. Neji, Gaara, Sasuke. So just as Gaara tells Naruto to give up on Sasuke, Neji would basically fill that same role, being the realist. Thoughts?
Would we have Neji? Could this be one of the times we have Neji fight Sasuke, kind of like Gaara's, where maybe it's not the longest fight in the world, but it's like a brief encounter that doesn't end, like there's no conclusion to the fight, but it's like the encounter happens in a similar manner?
I don't know if I'd want that because it would sort of ruin the Team 7 reunion aspect of it. It's like just them there. You randomly include Neji.
No,
like,
I'm thinking it would have to be like Neji's just at the 5 Kage Summit. He is one of the.
No,
advisors.
I got it. Actually, no. This
Danzo
actually works.
invites
He's
maybe
he's
like they force Danzo.
Or-
like Shizune is like, hey, you can bring one of your guards, but I'm demanding that Neji's with you or something. And Neji doesn't follow Danzo because he's like not part of Danzo's crew, so he's just at the summit.
No, I think it works. Danzo just recruits Neji as a bodyguard. Like he is the genius Hyuga member. So it works.
Or like maybe even if you want to say it Danzo's trying to look unsuspicious by bringing Neji with him or something.
Or he could. It's not even about Neji. Neji's Jonin, so he qualifies. But Neji has the Byakugan. That's an asset Danzo can sneakily, like a rat, use at this meeting.
Oh yeah, maybe he thinks about stealing it.
That's crazy. Yeah. But I was like, maybe reverse
just
it
have
onto
Neji be one of the
Ao.
bodyguards. Perfect.
Yeah, because maybe Danzo's like, oh, Neji, what's under Ao's eye? So it leads into Ao sneaking onto him.
He's like, what is that?
Perfect.
Nah, it should have